This is the
It
You had an
happens.
actual fight with your son
Yes, yes, an
because
actual fist
you
fight.
tried to take his stuff.
Yes, yes,
And
an actual fist fight.
can I
Yes.
can I mention in this whole story that there's already been violence, and I'm not trying to have a go at you here. I'm not saying it was bad or wrong or anything, but there was already a relationship of physicality between
How?
you
How?
because you said you spanked your kid.
When he was 8 years old.
That was the only time.
Yes.
So you only spanked your kid one time, but you're
Yes.
the serious
Yes. I
advocate
told
that
you
this.
that. Yes. 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 That was the only time.
Why are you an advocate then? Because clearly, for the rest of his whole life, you found other ways of dealing with any issue or problem that he
No,
had.
because I've never had those issues with my son after that. That's what I'm telling you. I
But
never
also,
had to
you only
worry
have to do
about.
it
I
once, though.
never had to worry.
Wait,
Yes,
also,
and I
you only
never.
did.
Yes,
You
yes.
you
I
really
only
be
had.
advocate. You only did it
Hold on, hold
once.
on.
You only
I
did it
never
once.
had to,
And wait, also, did you
because
feel good after doing it?
absolutely, because he never spoke to his mother like that again.
No, well, no. I'm saying like during the process of doing it,
Yes,
did it kind
I
of hurt?
felt fine. He deserved it. He
But did it
deserved it.
hurt him?
Yes. What?
It hurt him. You did it to hurt him, yeah? Was it with a
Of course
belt?
I did. Yes, with a belt.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Look, I'll leave that aside, but I think it seems to me that you've shown that you are a capable parent who's found many different methods of disciplining your child without having to hit
And
him.
when,
Right,
and
you found
when,
better ways than
but
if you
and
only
this
did it
is,
once. You found
but
Clearly
better
no,
ways.
no,
found better ways.
you're
Um,
proving my
but
point.
let's
You're
go.
proving
I
my
want to go back
point.
to him
Hold on,
in
hold on,
finance.
hold on. Wait a minute, hold on. You're proving my point because, as I said at the beginning of this, yes, the beatings are the last resorts, and those times I had to beat him were the last resorts, right? And he never spoke to his
Now
mother
you're
again
saying
after.
those
Hold on,
times. You said
hold on,
once.
hold on. He I'm talking about the fight we had too. So the first time he never spoke to his mom like that again. After he
Wait,
got
won
that
the fight.
beating, he never
Wait,
yelled to his mom. He never was
won the fight.
Okay.
Also,
disrespectful to his mom like that again. And then when we had the fight, we never had that kind of argument ever again.
I mean, it was 20. Wait. Who won the fight though?
I did. The fuck you talking about?
Man, why are we supposed to believe you, Hanzo? What if you lost?
I did.
It's okay if you lost,
You
Hanzo.
didn't win a
You did it.
fight. Get out of
I
here,
did.
bro. You're
You said
old,
your
I
friend
bro.
won
was
the
bigger
fight.
than you, Hanzo.
Yeah, that is
You're
right.
old, bro. Don't lie. Don't
But
lie
the
about it. You
difference
can't
between
bro.
the difference between me and
Lion
my son
MCU fan.
is I grew up with hood niggas. I grew up with them. You know what I mean? I grew up on the
See, this
streets.
is
He
what I'm
did it.
talking about. This is what I talk
He
about.
did it. He
This
did it.
Canadian gangster and
He
shit.
did
What
it.
the fuck
But
are you
yes,
talking
yes, I won the fight. Yes, yes.
about? He was
I
trying to
know.
belittle.
I know how
You
to
don't live that
fight.
life, bro. You
Oh,
I
don't
know
hold
how
live
on.
to
that life.
fight.
Let's
You
at
don't live
least
that life.
for this clip real quick. Let's at least try to get to the 15-minute mark so y'all can see his other position. So but when Nerman has to go, we'll just go ahead and close it up.
But
And I'm
all right,
later.
just quickly before you go, because we turned it into a joke. I don't know the ins and outs of your relationship. It's hard for me to tell, but I genuinely there's been a lot of reports on like violence is where a child is violent towards their parent, and usually there's a reason. Usually it isn't just like, oh, these are like good. Maybe the reason in your case is that you are just such good friends and like best mates in some ways, and that's what best mates do sometimes. Sometimes they just get angry and like have a little scuffle with each other and then make
As I
up after.
mentioned,
Maybe
Chief,
that's the nature of
a
your relationship.
child,
But
a
usually
child
what
will
I'm
try
trying
to
to say is
test their
there's a reason.
parents sooner or later. They will.
No.
Yes.
The,
Yes, they
the
will.
only time, and this is to mind you,
And
this
I
is
don't
of
mean
something.
test. And I
Mind
don't
you,
mean
this
test like always fighting, right? And I'm not saying a test as always fighting, but a test as to I don't care what you say. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
oh, right, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I thought you meant that they're always gonna try and hit them.
Try
I
and
don't
fight
think
you.
that.
No, I mean test you in certain ways, not always fighting, right? But they get to an age where they think they know everything, right? I've done it. My
Oh,
son's
absolutely.
done it. I've seen kids,
There's
they do it, and they
kids
won't
are very
listen no matter what.
obnoxious when they're
Yes,
teenagers. Absolutely, I
yes,
agree with you. But I
yes.
still don't think beating them is the the way out of that
Sometimes it works.
obnoxiousness.
That's my point.
But but look, we can go back to the tape. But I just want to get to the fact that these things that he's talking about are such extremes that it seems to me that some parenting needed to be done before these things even happened. So what he's talking about is not something that needs beating because it would appear to me that he's talking about a stage at which the parenting has already failed. Your kid goes out and R's someone, or what was the other example that he gave?
What example? Me?
He gave the example of raping, trying to attack
Yeah,
their
wait,
parents.
yeah, which, and I was because he gave this example, the Q-top guy. Now that was kind of weird. I'm not saying kids don't rape, but I'm saying if a kid at some age does rape somebody, I mean, I'm getting the police involved. Like, why the fuck my son
No,
raping people?
also, don't you think that something has broken down in the parenting before
Yeah,
then?
yeah. Nerman, Nerman, it could be this. What if that child was being, well, more than likely that child's probably being touched by the parents or someone in the family, maybe somebody at school. Because why are they expressing this weird, nasty sex?
That is so not true. That is so
Yes,
not
it
true.
is.
No, it is
Most
not.
Okay, but
most
where
No,
does
it is not.
get
most
these
people
random
who
like
No,
sex
abuse
it is
people
not.
have
rape
been abused.
somebody?
No, it
That's
is not.
absolutely
I
true,
know.
Hamza.
No, it
Most
is
people
not.
who
No, it is
abuse
not.
people have been abused
No.
themselves. That's a
So
Yeah.
fact.
Remember,
For a fact,
R. Kelly was
I
abused.
know for a fact that this dude that I know went to jail for the R word and was never abused as a child.
Okay, fair enough.
That's not an excuse.
We
Right?
can say
You guys are sitting here. No,
that.
but what you guys are
No,
doing
you
is
understand
you're
what
putting the
most
blame
means.
on. No, what you guys are doing is you're
You
putting the
understand the
blame
word
on
most.
parents.
It's a
No,
very
hold on.
simple word.
What you're doing
We
is
both
putting the
use it.
blame. What you're doing is putting the blame on parents for a lot of the shit that these kids are
We
No, no,
do
doing.
no,
not
And
defend
sometimes
Anzo,
it
parents.
has
I'm not saying
nothing
just, wait,
We
wait,
to
send
do
a
Anzo,
lot
I'm
of
not
with
saying just
people to
parents.
the
Wait,
prison.
Anzo,
parents.
I'm not, well, Anzo, I'm not saying just parents. Like I said with the Jeffrey Dahmer example, right? Jeffrey Dahmer is also responsible for his actions, but Jeffrey Dahmer also was showing signs of his weird shit in his home growing up.
Okay, but what about the ones who
Why was the
don't show
parents not
signs
doing
of it?
anything about it? Because
They don't. What about okay? So what about the kids that don't show signs? Right?
and
That's what
those
I'm
kids are
saying.
fine.
You can't just sit
I
there.
mean, but they
No,
usually do show.
no.
But they
What are you
usually
saying?
do show
You're
signs.
saying every. So
No,
you're
Hamza.
saying that everybody. You're
Also,
saying that
they show
everybody's.
signs
Hold
that
on, hold on.
parents
You're
don't
saying that.
know
No,
about it.
what you're saying is that
Every kid is going to
everybody
show
that's.
signs.
Hold on. What you're
Every kid
saying
is
is
going
that
to show signs.
everybody. Hold on. What you're saying that everybody that has done some fucked up shit has showed signs of it as a child. Is that what
Absolutely.
you're saying?
Yes, they show signs,
100%.
but a lot of
Absolutely not.
parents.
At least,
Okay, look,
at
Absolutely not.
least
Anzo, Anzo, Anzo,
99%,
Anzo, Anzo,
90,
Absolutely not.
Anzo, Anzo,
90%.
Anzo,
I'll give you
Anzo.
Absolutely not.
There's kids.
90%
Anzo,
yes.
wait, Nerman, hold up, Nerman. Anzo, there's
90%
kids
yes.
that have been later diagnosed as autistic, that later diagnosed as autistic or
So
whatever,
what
and
about these
all the
college
problems they
students?
may
So
have,
what about
they
these
try to
college
check, and the
students?
parents open them
What
for
about
something
these
that
college
could affect
students
how.
who grew up in a good home, go to school, get drunk, and rape a woman when they give her drug, like date
Again,
rape drugs or
No,
whatever?
no, no.
again,
Here, no, no. The guy here
again,
said kids. Like he said kids. I'm not saying kids don't do or don't go around raping people. But
Well,
why is
but that's
your
the thing. But
kid
how
raping
old are we
people?
talking? Because 12-year-olds ain't going around raping people. So
But we
how
don't
old
know
are
that.
we
We don't know. Wait,
talking?
wait, wait, wait. We don't know that because some countries, there'd be
Come
some.
on now.
he gave that example of kids. So
Yeah,
I'm
the guy on
assuming
the
he's
left gave the
talking
So
example
about
of
kids
kids
within it.
getting raped.
assuming what
You,
age we
you,
talking?
don't- you don't spank your kid who's going to university, right? That by then
Okay, so what kids?
you've
How old
done
are we
the
talking about
parenting. You're
rape
not
then?
spanking kids
I
that
know
go
he
to
used.
college, so he has to
I
be
know he
talking
used the
about
rape,
kids.
but okay. So
Wait,
how
let me play.
old are we
Wait, let me play a little more because he's not going to give. Let me play a little bit more so y'all can see because he's not going to give an age. The guy on the left, so y'all can understand what they're talking about. Let me play a little bit more because let
or
me.
like?
like
What age are we
vandalize
talking
the
about?
property or do these sort of things. And especially if I've already talked to him about these things and I've tried, other methods and those methods aren't working, that's when, in my opinion, and what the Bible says, I would um, definitely beat them.
Like I said, an uncivilized person would take that verse literally. But we are civilized. We have made progress ever since that proverb was written. And when you consider the fact, Q-Top, that it is a proverb, that means that you don't necessarily have to interpret it literally. The word rod simply represents a discipline. Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. Anyone who does not discipline their child probably hates their child, right? Because the whole point of discipline is so that they can learn. So when you're looking at methods of disciplines, which method arrives at the better end? For example, if I had a young son, 13 years old, like you said, who punched me, of course I'll subdue him. Now, I'll calm him down. I have that ability because nothing that he did was able to make me emotionally unstable. I'm always sober-minded. I'm always thinking rationally. I'm always thinking logically, right? Now, I will make him work. I'll make my son work. He will do all the chores in the house, and I will sacrifice whatever I need to do in order to ensure that I supervise him, right? When he's worked for 1 week and he doesn't want to work anymore, I make him work for another week. Then I make him work for 2 more weeks. Then I make him work for 3 more weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. 6 months in of doing carpentry work, fixing the whole house, he's going to have to consider the consequences of his action. If I go out there and do that crazy stuff again, my dad's gonna make me do all this work. And kids don't like doing all that work. That's why they're kids. I make him work like a man, but I don't need to beat him. And the good thing about making him work like a man is that I can kill two birds with one stone. I will teach him skills necessary, right? I will interact with him. I will befriend him. He does have a mind. A 13-year-old has the mind to understand. You can conversate with a 13-year-old. You can talk to them. Unless you lack patience, unless you lack kindness, unless you lack goodness, and unless you lack self-control, then you have no option but to beat them because you don't know any other way. But you and I, we clearly know other ways. You got kids.
So
Every kid has a hobby. I will simply make you stop doing your hobby. You want to do grown-up stuff? You want to do crazy stuff? Now, this is the time. Me and you, right? How important is it for you to discipline your child? How much time are you willing to invest to discipline your child? You can't just get away by giving him a 5-minute ass whooping. He's going to endure it. He's going to get used to it, right? You and I, we grew up being beat because our parents didn't have the patience to talk to us. That's the only reason why you and I grew up being beat. That's why our parents beat us. They didn't have the patience. They always had something that was more important than us. But if disciplining your child, Q-Top, is as important to you, that means that the moment when it is necessary that you discipline your child, nothing in this world is more necessary to you or more important to you than doing it. So you will have to invest time.
Well, let's hear the other
You will have
side.
to
We've
invest
kind
a
of
lot
got
of
this side. Let's hear the other side. Can you
control
skip forward
in order
because
to
we
accomplish
pretty much
the
got
end goal, which is
it.
not to spoil the child. If you are beating your child, bro, I'm honest with you, bro. You are emotionally unstable or uneducated, or you just don't understand the child.
Keachaw's about to give his.
well, yeah, I mean, but Kanga, I mean, I'm sorry that you like feel that particular way, but I mean, you mentioned that you would put the child to work. I mean, I don't really see like by what means you would do that, because if the child simply just refuses to like listen to anything that you say, and the
Facts.
child doesn't fear you at all, he doesn't
Can I pause
fear
it there
you as
just
a man,
1 second?
he
That's
has
not
no
fact.
understanding
So
of
yes, it is.
Hold up, let him finish his whole
and
point.
Can I pause it there
involving
just 1 second?
discipline, because I'm not claiming that spanking is what you should do in all circumstances. I'm saying when the circumstances have been exhausted and dependent upon the egregiousness of the offense, there is a time and a place to discipline your child with pain, because that pain is going to teach
Can
the
you
child
pause it
not
1
only to
second?
fear you,
Pause,
right,
pause,
and to fear what is
please.
wrong, because I do think that your children should fear you in a particular way.
You can continue playing, but just pause it 1 second. So of course children misbehave and don't listen. That does not mean that ultimately they won't listen. So the thing about, if you study a child's, children, the development of their brain, we know, and just look at their behavior, look at kids' behavior, especially from 4 years old, during this is what they call the socialization period, from 4 years old to, like, say, 12. They are, for the most part, even the most disobedient child is still somewhat obedient, right? They still have to follow orders. They go to school, they go to their class, they they do things that, generally speaking, the parent, even if they misbehave within the range of those things, you have to understand, I'm not saying
And what
that
about
they're
the ones who are skipping
just
school?
going to sit and listen to everything you say, but within the range. Like, I know this, I've worked with super disobedient kids. They still, to some degree, are obedient to you because they are reliant on you, right? And also, like, more
Some of
important,
these
they
kids
are
will see.
programmed to listen to adults. Kids
So,
are
no, they're
programmed to
okay.
adults.
So when some of these kids won't, and especially, and I'm going with his age, 13, he is 100% right. Yes, that father, and I agree, that father talking about putting your kid's ass to work, 100%. I would do that. But let's say he does it, and the child walks and says, "Fuck that, I'm not doing this." You're doing it, or you're not doing. No, I'm not doing it. Right? Kids
So, saying
rebel.
you're right.
They do that. So that child will be like, okay, but now staying in your room, right? Fine, no problem. But again, that child is not learning the lesson you want him to learn because he's not doing what you want him to do, right? There
Okay,
are
if you
children you're talking. Hold on,
actually,
hold on. Let me get to one more of your points. Let me get to one of your points where you said children are obedient. So what about those kids that leave their house and be like, "Hey, mom, bye, dad, I'm going to school," and then skip school every day?
you take them to school.
But how do you know that they're skipping school if the teachers aren't calling you and letting you know that?
You phone the school and find out, is my child
But
going
if
to
you're,
school?
but if you're not, but are you? So are you
So then
going
you're
to do that? Hold on, hold on,
no.
hold on, no, 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 no,
Like
no,
you
no, no.
said,
Next question.
when you're
No, no, no,
lazy,
no.
there's more
You don't
important things
know. No, no,
to
hold on, hold on. No, 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 no. You don't know that your child is skipping school, but you're gonna call the school to find out if they are.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. That's
Because
the
No,
you're
only
already
no, no,
because you're already
that's the only thing
assuming.
you could
Hold
do
on. No, no, no.
at
But
that
what I'm
moment.
saying is you're
them
already
about
assuming.
what
No, but
happened
hold on.
at
Listen to me.
school that
Listen to
day.
me.
To
Listen to
find
me.
out what
Listen to
happened
me.
at school. What did you
And they could
learn?
tell.
What
And
did
they could tell you
you learn?
some bullshit.
You do some
Kids
stuff with them.
lie, nerd man. They could come home with this whole story to make you believe that they went to
Sure.
school.
And
So
guess
what I'm
what?
trying to say is no, no, no. But what I'm trying to say is if you don't know that child is skipping school, you're not going to call the school to be like, hey, is my child skipping school? Because you're assuming your child is going to school every day and
And
everything
guess
is
what?
fine.
Guess what,
Yet they
Anzo?
are
If I
disobedient.
sit there and I talk to my child about what they did in school, and I actually have a proper conversation with them about what they're learning. I educate myself on what they're learning, like
Homework, all that stuff. Yeah,
book
they'll lie
they're
to you.
reading. I educate myself on that. If I go to clubs with them, science clubs after school with them, take them there, pick them up, talk to the teacher. How's
But are
he
you going
doing?
to do that?
You
Because
are
what
going
about
to fucking know if you have, and I might
But
not do that
Nerman,
because
how
I
can
might
you
tell
do
them
that if you're
to get
working?
parent, but you
Wait,
can
You
do
gotta
that.
work, right? You
Wait,
gotta
wait, but
work,
Anzo,
right?
wait, Anzo, what
Yeah,
Nerdman is saying, because you could do it during work. Wait, because you guys are take the scenario Nerdman gave with the whole school thing. Well, what Anzo gave with the school thing and the kid ditching during school. Nerdman is right. For sure, take them to school. Make sure they get there right.
Okay,
And
so
then,
you
and,
take them
and
to
then, and
school,
then, and
they
then,
walk in and they leave right
wait,
away.
let
let
me
me
finish.
finish,
Let me
Shanzo.
finish.
You were
Wait,
saying,
wait, wait. Hold up, Nerdman. Let me finish. And
Go
then
ahead.
when they get to the school, check in probably hourly. And if you find out during the fifth, maybe the third hour, your son already ditched, then
K-Dot,
Anzo, when you
K-Dot,
have to
K-Dot,
pick him
K-Dot,
up from
K-Dot, stop
school.
it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. You guys
Wait, I'm
don't have
trying.
kids.
Wait,
No, no, no,
because
you
it's
guys don't have
impossible
kids.
to
No, no,
do.
no,
You
no,
guys
no, no,
act
no,
like
no,
it's
no, no.
impossible
You
to
guys
do
don't
that.
have kids. You're not gonna do that.
That
No
is
parent is
possible.
doing that. You'll do that if you find. Hold on. You will do that. You will do that. You will do that if you find out that your child is skipping school or something like that.
Right.
But
That's
if you have no, but
that.
if you have what I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is, if you have no idea that they are, there's no reason for you to do that.
Right.
Nerdman is saying,
well, that's
Nerdman
totally
is saying, Nerdman, that's what I'm talking about. But Nerdman is talking about now, okay, so I'm going to sit my child. That child will call a friend and ask that friend, what do we have to do? What happened in school today? Blah, 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 blah. Especially if they know that they have a parent that's going to sit them down and ask them about their day in school.
Yeah, Anzo. But what I'm talking about is, let's say you find out your child is skipping.
Of course, yes, but I'm talking. But yes, that is 100%. If you find that, if you find out that, yes, 100%. But that was not the scenario that I gave.
Okay, and then look, I will say this. I'll say this in the case, and I'll say this in the case if you never ever find out that they did that, then you never find out. I mean, it is what it is. If they've been skipping successfully,
right?
And you never find out about it. I mean,
but the point of it. No, I hear what you're saying, Kevin. But the point of it was,
you're not letting me get involved in this.
I know, but I just wanted because I'm answering to Nerdman. I'm answering the K-Dot for 1 second. No, hold on. I'm answering the K-Dot.
Let me interject here. You think that what I just said?
Let me finish what I'm saying. The K-Dot. Go ahead.
Okay, can I go ahead? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, good. You think what I just said is because I'm trying to find out if my kid has gone to school or not?
No,
that was not the reason.
That's not what I said. That is not what I said.
This is what I'm talking about. I can't finish my point.
Because I'm not going to let you say I said something. Because I'm not going to let you say I said something I did not say. I did not say that.
Okay, you didn't say that.
That is not what I said. Okay, now you can finish your point because that's what I did not say. You're not going to sit there and say, "Oh, you said this and that." That's not what I said.
My point is the reason I am saying that you should take that kind of active role in your child's education is one, because schools are places that even if they go to school,
yes, I know
100% of the time, often because of the nature of schools, they're not going to get a lot of school, even if they're the most diligent fucking student. If 30 students are in their class and 20 of them don't care, that will be distracting enough that even the diligent students aren't getting as much of the education as they should do. Secondly, if they are skipping school, right, and you sit there and you talk to them and you take an interest in some of the, like you read like 10% of their homework. Let's be realistic, you can't read all of it because you've got to work yourself, you've got to keep food on the table, etc., etc. Right? So you can't, like be super dad or super mom. You can only be human mom, human dad, right? But if you take that 10%, right, you're helping with the education of your child. If you take that time to read the homework project that they're, or something that they're doing, right, you're helping with the education of your child. So even if they're skipping school, they're still getting something from being at home discussing what they did at school, and what's your favorite thing that you're learning in school, and then we can go and find something and do something together regarding that, so you can learn more about it. And if all of it turns out to be bullshit, they still learned something.
My whole point about it was my whole point was about the obedient part. I know what you're saying is correct. Yes, 100%. But it was about the obedient part. You said that kids have this thing to be obedient. A child that is skipping school every day, with you not knowing, is not obedient. That was my whole point.
Yes, but
you guys went on this whole ranting about this and that, but my whole point was about the obedient part.
Wait, Nerman, before you go, hold up. Let me say this real quick. And mind you, I'm letting Nerman go after. I just want to say this to summarize things. If your child always skips school and you never find out about it, cool. it's history. But you should never spank them after you find out. Let's say you find out at the age of 20, they told you, Dad, I was always skipping
Of
school.
course not.
Right, and I'm not saying. I'm just saying how my opinion on it. Now, if you find out, wait, on the other side, if you find
kids at 20,
wait, if you find out ahead of time that your child is skipping school and you got to go to work and stuff, and if you're also able to take them to school, and then during the day do some checkups and see if your child's in class. If you find out that they cut class, then what you do is, all right, then I'm gonna have to discipline him. I'm not saying spank him, but when he gets home, I'm gonna have to get on him about curfew, all these other things. But you can check during you still don't need a spank.
So let's say let's say your son starts school at 8 o'clock and you have to be at work for 7. How do you take them to school?
Wait, are you talking?
Doesn't matter. You have 13. That's the age I'm going. All right. Well, you have to be at work at 7. They start at 8. How do you take them to school?
Okay, I'll do it like this. Well, honestly, for one, I might have to get a different job with a different time because I'm gonna have to go.
Really, K-Dot? You think it's that easy?
Yes, I'm gonna have to because let's say
you think it's that easy to get another job? What if you have? Okay, so hold on. No. Let me just. I hear what you're saying.
Wait, let me list down the things I'm talking about.
What if you have a career?
Huh?
What if you have a career?
If you have such a career that you're so busy all the time, if you have such a career that you're busy all the time, then you should be able to afford to send your child after school clubs.
Let me work on the scenario. I got this. Let me work with a scenario. Okay, Anzo, let's say if that's the case. Okay, if I need to be to work at 7, but my child needs to be to school at 8, I need to restructure some things and probably get a new job. I'm not saying I'm going to immediately get a new job, but let's say I'm putting my child in a school. Well, why am I putting him in a school that starts at 8 and I start work at 7? Because let's say I'm a single father. Then I need to go depend on somebody else to get my child to school. And I don't want to drop my son off too early to school because he might be too young. Some weirdo might snatch him up. And also, if I'm in a relationship with my wife, then my wife could take him to school and I can go to work. There's different things to do. I'm not saying everybody can do this.
What you have to understand
also if you have that type of tight career that you're talking about, Onzo, there's you should be able to afford to send your kid to after school clubs that are interesting and get reports from them. You should be able
I said take your child to school. I didn't say anything about after fucking school. I said in the morning you have to leave at 7.
In the morning, that's what I'm saying. If you have that kind of tight career that keeps you so busy all the time, right? Then you should be able to get a school to inform you whether your child's going to school or not. If you have that kind of type career.
Yes. But what I'm trying to say, hold on.
Let's just resolve this whole situation. Let's resolve this whole situation.
Let's do it because I want to ask Anzo.
I said 7 o'clock. I said to 8. I'm moving the goalpost.
Wait, Anzo.
I'll go last. Okay.
Wait.
I'll go last. Let Anzo talk. You talk after. I'll go last.
Wait. I just need to add this in because I'm gonna let Anzo go. This is why I'm asking this. Anzo, let's do a specific age, right? Because I think
said 13.
Ages, okay, 13, middle school.
I said I'm going with the age that these guys talking about. 13.
Okay, 13 middle school. Okay, wait. Hold on, man. Let me say this. 13 middle school. I will say this: if you can trust your kid to, let's say, get on a bike, go to school, or hop on a bus.
Because you're skipping school. That's why you're taking them.
No. What this is before you even find out.
It's not.
This is where you find out with the scenario. This is where you find out with the scenario.
No, K-Dot, you're missing the scenario. The scenario is after you find out your child is skipping. You said you would take them to school. That's what it was. That's the
Okay,
scenario.
all
So
right,
we're
then,
not
all right,
switching.
then, all right,
You
then.
find out your okay. So you find out your
We'll work with
child is
that.
skipping.
If
You
I did,
said
we'll
you
work
would
that.
take them to school, right?
We'll work with
I
that.
said, what if you start at 7? School is at 8. What are
But
you
what has
doing?
this got to do
Okay,
with
and they're
beating
13.
the kids?
Order them an
So say
Uber.
they're
Order them an
skipping
Uber.
school. Say they're skipping school,
Order
right?
them an Uber. Ask your
What has
wife,
it got
ask
to
a
do with
family
beating
member,
them?
somebody. There's so many
So
different avenues you can
Hamza,
reach
is your
out
I'm
to.
not talking. I'm not talking about beating them. I'm trying to show K-Dot that it's not as simple as
okay?
just saying
Sure,
I'm
it's
not.
not
I
I'm
never
going
said
feasible.
to
it was
change
simple.
my
No, I
Not
didn't
fucking
say it was
job.
feasible.
simple.
You're
I
saying
never
it's
said it
not
was simple.
feasible,
But
right?
there's
We're
different
talking
things
about
you can
spanking
do.
kids.
But
There's
we
so many
moved on.
different
We
things you
went to
can
something
do.
else, Stoner man. Stop it. So I'm trying to explain to you because you
No,
guys
no,
are
no,
like,
no, 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 no. It comes
no,
back to
K-Dot's
that.
like, K-Dot's like, no, it's not. But
It,
again, we
it
can
comes
I'm
come
not
back
back
to
saying
to
it's
that.
that.
simple,
Okay,
but I
okay,
wouldn't be
Why
hold
are you
on.
working a
telling me
job.
the
I
Okay,
wouldn't be
answer?
so
working a
we can.
job that
So no,
interferes
no,
in
hold
my
on.
kid's school.
Let me finish.
I
You
wouldn't
said
work a
let me
job that
talk.
interferes
So
in my
we
kid's
can
school.
come back to that. We can come back to that. Okay, so fine, right? 7 o'clock, you do it. You find out something. You say you take an Uber. Okay, you take an Uber to school. They go to school. They get out to Uber. They leave. Never go to school. Right? You try another method. Right? You say, okay, now what? I'm going to. Let's say you decide you talk to your boss and you say, I'm gonna start at 8 or 8:30, whatever, so I can take my child to school, having issues. Boss says, yeah. So you go now and you start taking the child to school. That's cool. Child walks into school and then leaves the minute you leave, right? Now you calling
That's what I'm gonna do.
teachers. Hold on, hold on, hold
That's
on.
what I'm gonna
Now you call it. Oh, now you calling principals and teachers, and every hour, oh, your child is not here.
You
Okay,
don't have
so
to. You
now,
don't have to call them every hour. That's not.
well,
That's
that's what
not.
KDOT. No, but that's what KDOT said.
I'm not saying
He
it
would
has to
do.
be that,
So
but
I'm
there's
going
so
with what
much
KDOT
different
said.
things you can do. You can check in every 3 hours.
Okay.
Like,
So, but by the time you call, that child is not in school, right?
uh-huh.
So now what are you doing?
Well, hopefully,
Because you
well,
try it every other way. The only other way
wait.
for you to get that child to stay in class is by you sitting beside them, and you
Okay,
can't do that because
okay.
you work.
Well, hopefully he's gonna obviously have to come home later to sleep. And this is what I'm gonna have to lay down the ground rules if I haven't yet. I'm gonna have to take away certain things from him. Might be a lot of things to get him to
Mhm.
learn that you're not finna be stepping over me like this. I need you to go to school.
Okay. Okay, fine. And they do that. You do that. They
Mhm.
still skip.
Okay. Just now,
Okay.
I'm just
Can
okay.
can
And this look, and this is why I say I would do. I would try and do. I'm gonna have to get a little bit more invested. For an example, if I drop him off, I'm gonna walk him straight to the class, talk to the teacher, and let her know, like, hey, I know it doesn't start yet, but let me know when he leaves. Let me know when he
And
leaves.
then and that
Let me
teacher
know when
the
he leaves.
home okay, so
and then
homeroom
you
bell
have
rings. Hold on, hold
consequences
on,
when
hold
you
on,
get home.
hold on. Hold
I
on.
will sacrifice
Look,
my
I
Home,
can.
job. I'll
okay.
sacrifice my job to head to
Ho-
that school and get my son and like,
No,
yo,
Okay,
you won't. No,
you've
you
both had
won't.
your chance now. You've both
No, you
spoken.
won't.
Okay, I
Just
want to
one
go
more
back
thing there,
to.
man.
Okay, go
Just one
on.
more thing there,
One
man,
more.
because he said something. He said something else he would do. So I just want to go. So you
parent,
do that, right?
Lonzo,
You
my
you
dad
go
has
back.
been there
No, no,
many
hold on, hold on,
times.
hold on. You
My
do
dad has
that, right?
left in
You
the
go,
middle
hold
of
on,
work to go
hold
get his
on.
kids.
Let me finish. You do that, right? You go in there. You say, "Hey, teacher, tell me when they leave." Homeroom bell rings. They have to go to their other class. They go to that other class and leave because they don't stay in that one class, right? So that homeroom teacher has no idea that your kid has left. And that homeroom teacher, unless they really care about your child, is not going to sit there and be like, oh my God, I got to check and see if K-Dot's son is still in school.
Right. And Anzo, if I make the call later and he's not in class, then he's not in class, right? But at the end of the day, that child is gonna have to come back home to me,
Yes.
regardless. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm his source of survival. He's
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to eat off of me, so he'll come home
Mm-hmm.
regardless. So I'm gonna still go about my day, do work and stuff. I'm not gonna worry those guys like I know, he doing some shit. I mean, I never skipped school, but I did my shit. I made sure I came home. And then that's when we get into the disciplinary action. And I'm not saying I'm going to hit them. Is I'm telling them I'm going to restrict a lot of your hobbies and I'm taking away a lot of your shit and I'm replacing it. I'm not going to say it like that. But
So,
your phone, boom, gone. You have to read books now. Every day you come in,
mhm.
you have to read a book for an hour or for
Read a
2 hours.
book and tell me
Okay,
what it's
hold
about,
on.
and then do like a
Yeah,
paper on it. But
keep
And
making them do
you,
something
you
that
can
they
even
really don't
you
want
can
to
even
do.
talk.
100%.
You can even
100%.
wait. You
And
can
they do
even
all
talk to the
that. and still skip school the next day.
But you still skip school. You keep going.
It's going to be a work in progress, but it's not going to be instant fix. That's the thing. It's a work in progress. It's not going to be an instant fix that he stops.
Yeah, exactly.
Going,
you still skip school. You keep
So
going.
a month later,
We're giving you all the scenarios you can do.
A month later,
so wait,
I'm doing all of that. No, hold on. I want to get to the point.
you.
I know
over
you
and
have
over
something to
again,
say. You have something to say. Hold on. You have something to say. You have something to say, but I want to finish this because what I'm trying to explain to you is
let me add to the conversation.
you exhaust.
Let me
You
add to the conversation
exhaust.
because I have solutions as well.
I'm trying to get to, and I'm telling you, you exhaust all of your solutions.
Okay,
We've talked about this already. Now what?
I'm gonna give a response, and Nerman will give a response. I'm gonna give a real quick response, and Nerman will give a response.
No, because he's gonna respond to you. I'm
not
sorry.
gonna say nothing.
Mine's gonna be quick. Mine's gonna be quick.
Go, oh, I have to speak. I have to speak.
Wait,
say
Nerman,
nothing.
I got you. Mine's gonna be quick. Mine's gonna be quick.
I am not going to say nothing.
So Nerman can say something. Now, if he's still doing it, I need to really pinpoint why he can't sit down in class and listen. So ultimately, what I'm gonna have to go do, take him to the doctor or talk to a therapist. Because maybe, what if he has ADHD? What if he just can't sit? And that's in the way, and having him just sit for so long, and mind you, he's not getting engaged and shit, is the reason why. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to go even further. Because maybe I'm not getting him checked up to see, like, why is my son, like, brain not working this way? Why is he not doing what the other kids is doing?
Right.
Because we have to remember this. We have to remember this too. All the kids that was ditching school, there was a small few in the class doing it, but every other kid could sit there. So what was up with those small few ditching? Go ahead. Nerman, I just want to say that. It's only a small few that ditch. It's a small few, a small commodity of the class. Go ahead, Nerman.
So this whole thing comes back to solutions of these things, and what you just mentioned is a solution, and maybe you find out he doesn't have ADHD or he doesn't have anything, and then you're back to the drawing board because he keeps skipping, which is probably what Anzo is going to say next or something like that. The whole thing comes back to, for me, solution. See, I've forgotten everything I was gonna. How ultimately you resolve an issue like this, right? And for instance, JJ Fanboy says that spanking is not the end all only type of punishment. You have alternatives, and you need to find out what works best for your child. Now, will I ever resort?
Oh shit, Jada said that?
Will I ever resort to spanking?
I'm shocked.
Right? That's what it all comes down to. Do you have to resort to spanking or beating a child in the event that any other form of discipline works? Now, the way I look at it is, if we know, right, from evidence that there is risks to beating a child, those risks may result in traumas and other kind of things that in the end will be even less beneficial for the child in future, then I'm not going to risk that. If in the end you've done everything within your power to help this child and none of it works, then you have to accept that it's not your fault, and they have their own life to live, and they have they're going. That's the ultimate consequence. That is going to be their life, right? And you've warned them, you've told them, look, you're going down a bad road. You're going to end up, in a place where, like, either you're working in something that you hate, and you're not gonna be fulfilled or satisfied in life, or you can take this road and just do a little bit of work, put a little bit of hustle in at this point to get good results in future. Give them examples of people, who have these good results, as opposed to people who have the bad results, and what they did, the differences between, like, what somebody, who's successful did in life and you can give them like examples, role models that even are interested in things that they're into, and show like, look, this is the work and whatever they had to do to get to where they're at, versus a person who doesn't fulfill their dreams, or who doesn't fulfill even the basic of just having a nice kind of existence and the way they lived and what they did during. If you exhaust all of that, then in the end of the day, I'm sorry, it is going to be their problem. You don't have to beat them.
So,
In the
so
end of
what
the
do you
day,
do? So
you,
a
the beating
13-year-old
them
that you exhaust.
runs,
Okay, you spoke.
runs as
So a
much of a
13-year-old. Okay, so a 13-year-old that you have exhausted, like you said, and you said you're just gonna tell. So you just let them do whatever they want to do now.
no. I'm not going to let them do. I'm going to keep on parenting in the way that I'm parenting, knowing that I'm
But
not
nothing,
doing
but
anything
nothing
wrong.
you're doing. So okay, so nothing you're doing is working. They're gonna skip school. They're gonna run out and run the streets and do whatever they want to because obviously your parenting
Sure,
or the way you try is not working. So now
sure.
let's say, you lose it, you spank that child, and then that child never skips school again.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
How do you know?
That's really why I don't
I can tell
believe
you that's the case
that.
because I've experienced it.
Sure, if you've experienced it, that's fine. But
So then you can't say
I
that's not
don't,
the case.
I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe you can
But
just
you can't.
that you're going to beat somebody once, and then forevermore they're just going to, do the right thing and listen and go to school and
Because
be really
sometimes,
diligent and
nerd
work
man,
hard and do all of
people,
that. I don't think
sometimes,
that
regardless
that's
how
the way
fucked
of
up it may
motivating
sound,
people to do anything.
because sometimes, as
I'm
fucked up as
I
it may
don't.
sound,
The
some
reason I'm
people
saying this.
respond to violence more than they do
Sure.
anything
Okay,
else.
I don't agree. Okay, but what I'm saying is,
But I
if
don't think it's
I've
normal
done
for
all
people
of
to
that, if
it's
I've
like that.
done all of, if I've done all of those things, I've done all the good things. Taken them to after school clubs, taken them to the theater to, to expand and broaden their mind. Traveled with them abroad, so when they're going to French class, it's like not only do you just go to French class. But no, we're actually taking a trip to France. So you can
And do
see
you
what
think a
it's like to be in
13-year-old
France and not
child,
being able to
do
speak
you
French.
think a
Wait a second,
13-year-old
wait.
child wants their parent on a vacation with them when they're friends in school?
Yes, yes.
No, they
Wait.
don't.
Anzo,
Okay,
Anzo,
I
wait,
can
Can't
say,
Anzo.
look,
wait
look,
till
look,
you
Hold on,
guys
hold on.
look.
have
We gotta throw
kids.
this in. We gotta throw this in. We gotta throw this in. And look, I will say this too, and this is me speaking from personal experience. My dad was present, right? But I wasn't getting as connected with him with shit. I wish I could have been more connected with my dad doing shit. Yeah, he showed me how to
Fine.
ride a
You
bike.
may have been. Yes.
But
100%. You
we
may have
wasn't
wanted that.
really doing shit because he's always
Right.
working.
Right.
Always
100%. You may have
working.
wanted that.
He's always
100%.
working.
But you are not going to want
You
your
haven't let him
father
finish.
on a
You haven't
school
let him finish
on a
his point.
school trip
Also,
with
kids lost
you, your
connections with the
classmate,
parents.
maybe girls that you
Who
like,
said about a
right?
school
You are
trip?
not
I
going.
said
You
I'm
said
taking
that.
my kids to France. Who said about a school trip?
I thought I
If
heard you say
they're
school
learning
trip. You said
French or they're learning
before you
Spanish,
said France.
I take
Before you
them
said
to Spain.
France. Before you said France, you said you would go on the school trip with them. That's what you
No, I
said.
said I'd go on a trip. I'd go on.
Oh,
I'm saying
I thought you
all
said
the good
school trip.
things you can do as a parent, right? If you do all of those good things and your kid still turns out to be a menace or somebody who's just not listening and doing whatever they want, then there's nothing more you can do. That's
There
it.
is.
Finished.
There is. There is.
I don't see the
There is
beating
something
this
more you can do.
and
There is.
the reason I'm saying this, Onzo, is because I genuinely don't believe that in maybe pretty much 95% of kids, if you raise them like that from the age of 2 all the way till they're 18 and need to be in that independent mode. If you raise them with culture, with humanity, with love, with discipline,
Nerd man.
and you
I
raise
grew
them
up
with all
in.
those things,
I
I
grew
very
up.
much doubt they're going to do the
I
things
grew
that
up.
you're
I
talking
grew up in
about.
a
I very
totally
much
different
doubt it.
generation than
I
you. I
really
grew
doubt
up.
that.
I hold on. I grew up. Let me tell you something. I grew up in a totally different generation for you. I grew up in a generation where spanking was fine. all kids got spanked to the point where kids would act up in a supermarket and get spanked. Majority of us turned out fine.
What are you sure they turned out fine?
Me,
Wait.
hold on. Yes,
Are you
yes.
sure they
Me.
turned out
I'm
fine?
gonna give you. I'm gonna give you.
your
Wait,
generation
I'm gonna give you
about
3 examples. Hold on, hold on.
Anzo,
I'm gonna give you 3 examples right now. Me, Roberto, Danny.
okay, those are you guys, but are they? Wait, and this is the thing.
But
Are you
what
truly
does that
sure?
mean?
Because
That
there's
you
also
turned out
internal
fine? What
stuff
did
that
you
we
turn
don't
out
know
fine?
about a lot of people. There's a lot of
I am.
internal stuff that we don't know about a lot of people still going on after this stuff. Just because they look like from the
Okay,
outside
but that
they're
doesn't.
doing
But that
fine,
also
we don't
doesn't
know if
mean it
they're
had to
really
do
doing
with.
fine.
But it
We don't
also
know if
doesn't
they're
mean
really
to
doing
do.
fine.
That also doesn't mean it had to do with because they were spanked as a
I'm not
child.
saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But
So
think about it.
again, we're talking
Anzo,
about spanking, not abuse. Okay, you guys are talking about things that happen to kids that are abused. I am talking about spanking.
right.
Right.
But
All the
Anzo,
stuff, all the traumatic stuff you guys are talking about is from people that are abused, not from children that have been spanked and disciplined because they did something wrong.
okay, but Anzo, look at it like this. Look at it like this. Really think. All right, because some parents consider spanking with a belt as discipline. Okay, and some
It
parents,
can be, yes.
wait, and look at it like this. How is that different from a slave master with a whip?
It's totally different. What are you talking about? So for one, a slave master with a whip,
He's not
is
paying you
actually
for.
No, I'm not saying
Yeah,
you're a slave.
he's
What
not
I'm saying
beating
is
you for
because
not
I see
doing
it's
anything
totally
wrong.
different.
wait, Anzo, I
It's,
see parents take the belt and
have
go
you
10
ever
times.
been have you ever been hit with a belt and have you ever been hit with a whip? Totally different,
No,
bro.
Anzo, look at it like this. Look at it like this. When parents use the belt, they don't do just one hit. Not all parents do. Majority
Doesn't
of them
matter.
go more than 5. And then
It
you go,
doesn't matter. There is nothing comparing to hitting with a belt than a whip. It's
yeah, but
not
But
comparable.
the context is different.
what's
The
similar,
context is different.
what's similar, and this is the thing, how our ancestors got beat into submission to do things is no different than what parents are doing. They're going whoosh, 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 whoosh,
Yeah,
like
but slaves were
Now, that's true.
beat for no reason, right?
and
We're
some of
not
these
talking.
Yeah, they were
We're
beat for
not
no
talking.
reason.
We're not talking about. We're not talking. Okay,
Yeah,
we're
they were
take
beat for no
away.
reason. But
Take
he's
take away.
right on
Take
only
away.
one
No,
thing.
no, no, no. Hold on,
He's
Herman.
right on only
Take
one thing.
away.
You are beating them into submitting to your will. That's basically what it
No,
is.
you are
Rather than
not. You are
beating them
no, you are not.
via
You are beating
rather
them
than
because there are
discipline.
consequences to their actions, and you have exhausted every other
And
avenue
I
that
don't
you
think
can
if
think
you,
of.
I think if you are diligent, right, and you
You don't have
really,
kids.
I think if you are diligent, I work with kids a lot, okay, so I
It
know I
doesn't
don't have
matter.
kids,
You
look,
go
but
home
I
to
work with
yourself.
kids
You
a lot.
don't go home to
I
those
work with
kids.
kids
I don't
every
give a
day.
fuck how many kids you work with. I don't care how many
But
kids you
see,
work with every day.
Do
You
you
don't
work with
live with them
I don't
kids.
need a kid.
They're not yours.
Anzo, I don't need a kid to see that if a kid is in pain and they don't like it, and a parent is constantly doing it, I can have that empathy to go like,
But
it's something
constantly
that I even
doing it
whooped the kid
for
before.
what?
Anzo, I whooped the kid
Constantly
before.
doing it for what?
Anzo, I whooped my nephew before, and that's one of the things I regret because
For
my nephew.
what?
Look, wait. Well, because he wasn't listening to his dad. But this is the thing. His
But
dad
you
kept
had no right
spoiling.
to do that,
But
though.
this is the thing, Anzo. His dad kept spoiling him so fucking much.
But
He
you
all he
have
does
no
is
right to do
spoil
that,
him.
though.
No, I
That's
don't.
not your place. So that's why you felt
I know,
bad,
but my
because
brother
that's not
wasn't
your
against it.
place. It
Anzo,
don't matter. That's
my
not your
brother
place
wasn't
to do
against
it.
it. Anzo, my
But
brother
that's
wasn't
not your
against it.
place.
No, I know, but my brother wasn't against it. He actually supported it, but he shouldn't have
So
supported it
what?
because I didn't feel good
That
doing
doesn't
it,
matter. You
and
didn't
it
feel
wasn't
good doing it
effective.
because it wasn't your place to do
Anzo,
it.
Anzo, it still wasn't effective because his kid is still a spoiled brat. And mind
Because
you,
it wasn't your place to do it, K-Dot. You
It's
have
not
no
the
effect on
fact.
that. You don't have
Anzo,
anything
wait,
on.
Anzo,
We're
listen.
going into
Okay, let me give you another
different.
example, Anzo. Let me give you another example of something my nephew did. My nephew brought a gun home into our house, right?
Mhm.
And this was my brother's response. He went in on him, right? But this is the thing. His son lives around the projects and shit, where kids are getting shot constantly 24/7. So it's something clearly wrong. You need to get your kids out the fucking project. Why does your son have a gun? And mind you, this was his response, like we hear from many black boys. Well, you know, I need to protect myself. And I'll be honest with you, they might have to protect themselves because you know they're shooting our kids and shit. Our kids are shooting each other.
Yeah.
And mind you, he grew up in the projects and is still in it.
Okay,
It's like, and mind you, this is on my brother. Move your kids out the fucking projects.
okay, but what's your point? I don't
ultimately not
understand.
his fault. I'm just saying it's ultimately not his fault. His son's fault. It's like, go the extra mile, get them out of it. That's why my parents, I'm not saying they was the best, but my parents, they grew up in a project, but they didn't want me
But
growing up
some
in it.
people can't do that, K-Dot.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
Right?
Anzo, my
It's not
parents
that
was
easy.
Anzo, my
Okay,
parents were poor too.
Yes, your
My parents
parents did
were
it.
also poor.
Congratulations to your parents for doing it.
They don't even
Not
have a college
everybody
education and
can.
they still thought to do this.
Not everybody can,
Okay.
K-Dot.
I'm not saying
So
everybody
I
can. I'm
agree
just talking
with
about,
you.
and
I
I'm just
agree
talking
with
about
you.
in
I
some
agree
cases.
with you. Not everyone can. I agree with you. Not everyone can. But here's the thing, right? Even if so, you can't get out of the projects, but then the problem is identified with your child's behavior. Your child's behavior is because he lives in the fucking projects, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
the
agree with
reason
that.
for your child's behavior. They
Okay,
live in
some of it,
a
yes.
place, right, where they're surrounded by things, bad influences that are going to influence them to do, a number of different things, right? So in this scenario, what you're talking about is, I mean, it's a horrible thing to say, but there's like a, you're just growing up in a in a bad situation, right? Like, and I don't know what to say about that other than maybe don't become a parent until you can move out of the project. So I
No,
don't
but
I
know.
don't.
wait, and I will say this. Wait, I'll say this. Wait, Nerman, I'll say this, and a lot of parents are afraid to do this. Take a risk and move. Stop being so stuck in the one area you live in, because a lot of people are
K-Dot,
scared to
stop
move
it.
out of their own
Stop it.
states.
Some people don't make enough money to even move, bro.
So then
What are we
don't become
talking
a parent
about
until
here?
you can move out of that situation. If you're surrounded in a world or place where
Okay,
there's that
so
degree of violence and killing, and even if people go to school, they're gonna
again,
get
another
terrorized, and that's why they're skipping
another
school.
stupid thing to
Then you
say
don't
because
don't have the
another
child while
stupid
you're living in that situation.
another
I'm sorry,
stupid another stupid thing to say, nerd man. Again,
that's not a
because
stupid thing to say.
No, I agree with
yes, it
Nerman on
is.
that because
It's a
some
stupid thing
people
to
don't even
say
have kids
because
at this point.
some people don't plan to have kids and they do. So what are we gonna do? Abort them?
Yeah.
Dude,
No.
there's
So
ways
you
of not having kids. There's
If you
ways of
if
get around this.
obviously,
look, this is the real thing.
obviously,
If
but
you're
it's
Not have
not
but
invested, wait. If you're not invested or even ready, like let's say you're still living in your parents' house, you don't even got a car, a house, and you and your girl don't feel established, y'all definitely shouldn't be having kids because then you're gonna put other responsibilities on other people at that point.
understandable.
If you're not
But
ready,
you
just abort
guys
it.
are acting like everything is kumbayas. Regardless
I'm
of
not
what
saying
you may
everything's
say,
kumbaya.
that shit is going to
No,
happen.
I
All right.
know people
So
are going to keep
you
having
can
kids
sit
in the
there and
ghetto, but
fucking say,
that's
"Oh no, let's not have kids until you're ready." Okay, fine, great scenario, but that's not reality. Okay, so let's
yeah,
talk
it's not
about
Yeah,
reality.
reality.
but that should be the reality, though, Anzo. That should be the reality.
It's
People,
not gonna be the reality because people love to
no,
fuck
but
too
it should be.
much.
It can be, Anzo. It can be because I can control where my dick goes. And if I'm
You
going to go
can.
fuck a girl, if I go fuck a girl,
You
and I'm going
are
in there
not
without a condom and she gets
everybody
pregnant,
though,
well,
right?
that's on
You
me,
can't expect
and I
what
need
you
to
were
deal with the
going to do.
responsibility.
You can't expect everybody to do what you were going to do. You can't.
Yes, but
So
then
you
Right,
have
right,
to
right. But
understand,
But
regardless
Anzo,
of
the
what you
fault,
guys
the
say,
fault,
you shouldn't
but
do
then
this,
the
you
fault
shouldn't do
lies
that.
with the
It's
person way before their child has even done anything
right.
disobedient. The fault is already there. You
so
can't then
again, here's another
retroactively
thing.
go, oh,
Let's not act.
well,
Let's not act Like
Come on,
being
bro.
fucking a child in the ghetto is the end all to be all, because people have gotten out of it.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
not
you
saying
just have to be a certain fucking mentality to do so. So let's not
Sure,
sit here
you
and say,
do.
well, this is what we got to do and this and that. No,
If
it's gonna
you
happen.
don't
It's
have a
reality.
parenting strategy, what I'm trying to say is if you don't have a parenting strategy
Oh
before
my
that's
god.
strong enough to resist living in that kind of circumstance where you feel comfortable, like even though I'm living in this circumstance, I've got like a parenting strategy that will really work within it, then just you need to not do it.
Live
And
in this fucking
it's much
fairy tale
easier
world.
no, and,
it's
and
much
look, and look,
wait, it's much easier to get out of the ghetto if you are a single person, right? Or get out of those kind of circumstances if you're a single person. You can afford to do things, right, that will allow you to improve your circumstances much more than if you have a child. Once you have a child, then you're like fucking, then you're much more likely to be trapped in that situation because now you do have to work for like another person and make sure that they're okay and like live an affordable existence and all of that kind of thing. Whereas before, you could actually take a few kind of risks. You can improve your education. You can do a number of different things. Now, and even then it's still hard, but it's much less hard than with a child. So I get what you're saying, and it's fundamentally true. People are going to have kids in whatever circumstances because we're biologically programmed that way and whatever. And a lot of it comes from lack of education, maybe in those situations as well, having sex too early, doing all of that kind of stuff. But whatever. In
no,
the end of the
it's
day,
not even,
in
it's
the
not even
end of
having
the
sex.
day, what I am saying is, if you find an environment that is good to raise a child in, and you raise that child with the kind of love and diligence and discipline that I am talking about, I highly doubt that with all of those things going right for that child, that child is going to exhibit the kind of behavior that you're talking about that will necessitate them being beaten. That doesn't mean that they're not going to misbehave, but they will eventually listen to the kind of disciplining methods that me and K-Dots have been talking about. If they are in the right circumstances, you know, good household,
I
two
can't wait for
parents,
you to have kids.
you
Oh,
When
know,
you have kids, when you guys both have kids, then you can come back and talk to me about
right.
this
oh,
situation.
that's
Because
true on that
no,
end,
because
isn't
it
it?
don't matter. It
We are
don't matter
talking about
what you say. All you're talking about,
you
nerd man,
basically said
nerd man.
every single thing
You have
that
fucking kids
clearly works.
who have you have fucking kids who have grew up in fucking 2-parent home, rich and everything, and have still done murders.
Yeah,
You
because they've been
understand?
spoiled, or they have entitlement issues,
How
or
do you?
a number of different things. Just because you grow up in a nice area with two
Okay,
parents
so
doesn't mean that those
so
parents are
hold
good
on.
parents.
So here's the
There's
thing.
ways of being
Just
bad
because
parents even in
just
those
because you
circumstances.
grew up in the hood doesn't mean you can get out. Just because you grew up in a 2-parent home with good parents like you and Kate are talking about doesn't mean that you're going to be a good kid. The
Right.
same,
No,
and you can say the
you're not.
same thing for
Again,
dogs.
Lonzo,
again,
wait.
what
Lonzo,
we're
factor,
talking about.
factor this in too. Hold on, man. Factor this in too, because it goes back to the root of the problem. It even starts before the parents even do their thing. Better planning. As Nerman said, if you need
Dude,
to get a better career, then go back to
dude,
school. If you need to do
dude,
these other things,
dude,
prepare better
dude,
first before you
dude.
do this.
Sometimes it does not fucking matter what you do. That
It
child
doesn't
is
matter what the
going
parent
to
does
be.
before the parent
It
child bond.
sometimes it does not matter what you do. A child
All right,
that is a bad
I'm
seed is going to be a bad seed. And I am
bullshit.
sorry to tell
Bullshit.
you guys this.
That's
I am
But no
sorry.
child is a
Hold on,
bad
hold on,
seed, though.
hold on.
bullshit.
No
I
child
am
Bad
is a bad
sorry.
seeds are
seed.
made.
Hold on. I am
Lonzo, no child
sorry
is
Bad
a
to
bad
tell
seed.
seeds
you
You
are
guys
develop
this.
made.
yourself.
You
Hold
do
on.
not come out.
Hold
You do
on.
not
I
come out
am
of the
sorry to
womb a
tell you
fucking bad
this.
seed.
I am
Bad
sorry
seeds
to
are made.
tell you
And
this.
just like
I
you
am
said, good
sorry
seeds
to
are
tell
made as
you
well.
this. I am
Good and
sorry
bad
to tell
seeds
you
are
this.
made.
But some kids
Period.
are just fucking bad.
No,
It's
no,
just
Doesn't
that
happen.
simple. Yes,
Does
they are.
not happen.
Yes, it
Does
does.
not happen.
Yes, it
environment,
does.
Anzo, that's an
Does not
Yes,
environment
happen.
it
issue.
does.
Anzo, that's
Yes,
an
it
environment.
does.
Anzo,
It does
those two
not
things it is. It's an
matter
environment
what
issue,
the
or maybe there's something mentally
it
wrong with
does
them.
not matter what
All
the
right, good. You're
environment
just
is.
repeating yourself over and over again. We
I
understand your
am
point.
telling you,
You've
it does
repeated
not
yourself like
matter
5
what
times
the
now.
environment
Understand your
is.
point.
Yes, it
Can
does.
I'm
The
telling
environment
you,
definitely
no, it
matters.
doesn't.
Yes, it does. Because if my
No, it
son
doesn't.
if my son grows up around, let's say my son is black, growing up in a sundown racist town, and he constantly sees white people berating him, then he might develop a insane hatred against white people. And what if he
To
goes out and
some
starts
people,
randomly killing
yes.
white people?
To
Even
some
white people didn't
people,
do nothing to him.
yes. To some people, yes. But if your
The environment
child is
affects
a
you.
bad seed, it does not fucking matter
So,
where
okay.
they go.
Once
No
And
again,
yes,
child is a
there
bad
are
seed, though. Wait,
right.
Anzo,
once again,
no baby that's
dude,
born
no,
is
no,
bad.
no, 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 no.
Like no child
K-Dots,
is a bad
K-Dots,
seed. Like
as much
what
as
is
I
that?
agree with you, I've got to stop you right now. You've just repeated the point. If your child is a bad seed, it doesn't matter. So no matter all of the things we've talked about, right? You get those circumstances right. You, as I said, you take your child on holidays, nice holidays where they can learn about new cultures. You find out about their their talents and stuff like that, and you encourage those talents, and you take them and make sure that they go to like their gymnastics class or their ballet class or their sailing class or whatever the fuck class it is, science club. You make sure they do all that. You talk to them about that. You talk to them about their own personal lives, how they're feeling, what's going on in their world. You do all of those things, right? From the age of fucking 3 onwards, from the point that they can speak, and even before then, right? You do all of those things, and they're in nice circumstances in terms of their housing. It doesn't have to be like then, like in a mansion or something like that, or like even a big house. Just a loving household with two parents, loving household, or even if you're divorced, you still can find a way of getting on in between each other. If you do all of those things, right, and you're saying that all of that fails because the child is just a bad seed, I'm
So,
saying I really highly doubt that is going to be the outcome in those
well,
circumstances.
then you would
I
be wrong because
doubt it.
you could.
You
Okay,
can't
so here,
tell
let me
me
give you an example.
because you're
Hold
a
on, let me give you an
parent of
example.
one child.
Hold on.
Wait a second. Wait a second. I haven't finished yet. You can't tell me
You
because you're
never
a parent
finish
of one. Sorry.
because you never finish. Well, go ahead.
Okay, you can't tell me because you're a parent of one child. I think you've got one son. Maybe I'm wrong about this, right? You're a
I
parent of one
raised
child.
my sister's
Sorry?
kids. I've raised my sister's kids, and I've raised
Okay,
more
you've
than
raised
my
your
child.
sister's kids. So you've got
Yes,
3 children. You've got 4 children. You've got 10 children. It doesn't fucking
I've
matter
raised
how
kids.
many children you have. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that given those circumstances that I just discussed of how you raise your child, right? There is no reason
And
that
then
that
that child
child should
meets a man
child
or
should
a
be
woman that changes
exhibiting
everything
the
in their life.
degree of bad behavior that you are talking about. Okay, so they can
And then
still
that,
be behaved, they can still be children, they can still disobey you,
and
but
so
the
hold on.
degree that you are talking about, where there's just
Mhm,
nothing else you can do apart from fucking
mhm,
hit them, right?
mhm.
I do
Because
not
so that child,
believe that would be the case. So
good, okay, good.
apart
So
from
you
that,
said that
it's just
already. Again, another
listen.
thing you've said like 5 times already too. So we're just going back over the same things over and
No,
over
I
again.
think
So
that's
all
just
you're
different
talking about, hold on,
philosophy.
hold on. So all
Wait,
you're
wait,
talking about, right, is hold on, kiddo, hold
wait.
on, kiddo. So all you're talking about, right, all that stuff, all that good stuff, and then that child, whether it's a female or male, meets a fucking dude. Let's say she meets a dude who's a drug dealer, and he changes every fucking thing you have taught your daughter because it has happened.
That's the environment.
So wait a second.
But
You're
still,
saying that
you
she
taught your
starts
daughter
taking
properly
drugs
though.
or what?
Right, but that
And
happens to people.
you,
People can't
and
be.
you think
People can't be
you think
swayed.
beating a
People can't
kid
be.
is going to
People
So
solve
can't be
whose
everything?
fault
manipulated.
is that, though? Then K-Dot.
Okay,
Do
then
you
it's
think
obviously
are
the
you
drug dealer. If you
are you
look, if you raise your child to never ever touch drugs, do all
I'm
this
not
weird
saying I'm
shit.
not saying they do drugs. I'm
No,
saying
no, no.
she
I know.
meets
I'm just
somebody who
yeah.
is like a drug dealer or
Uh-huh,
whatever, and everything that you taught her was good.
right.
She decides because that's her man, she's gonna do whatever her man tells her to do, and everything you have told her goes out the fucking window.
Well,
so
Anzo,
do you
and
think
this is why I have
beating
to
her
say. Hold on. This is why I have to say that.
is gonna
Wait,
help her? Is
This is why I
beating
say
her
to that.
gonna
This is why I say to
First
that.
off, I'm not even talking about beating at this point. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
just
Wait.
trying to
Yeah,
counteract the
yeah,
bullshit you keep saying.
yeah, and
No,
this
no,
is
I'm
hold
just
up.
trying.
This is why I'll
No,
say to that.
no,
This is why I'll say to
one
that.
second.
I got my answer. Hold up. I got my answer. This is why I'll say to that. At the end of the day, she's a human. Humans can still be tricked, controlled, and manipulated. So maybe she's taking part in it, but that dude could be manipulating her too.
Okay,
You know
but
what I
that's
mean?
what I'm saying. So you've trained her, but you've done all the things that Nerdman said. You went on
then
vacation where
it's
you did
not
all
your
these things,
fault.
right? Hold on,
Then
hold
you
on.
you
Wait,
Same
deal
age,
with
Anzo, at
that.
though.
this point,
Hold
is
on,
she an
hold
adult?
on.
Wait,
Let
Anzo,
me
is she an adult at this
finish.
point? Hold up, Anzo,
Let
is
me
she? Wait,
finish.
well,
You
Anzo,
gotta let me
I just want
finish.
to clarify. Is she an adult at this point too? In this
She's
scenario.
same age, 13. That's the age I've been going on for all the time.
13 and she's
Wait
meeting
a
a
minute, she
fucking
wasn't dating.
drug
Wait. How old is the drug dealer? How old is
Okay,
the drug
so
dealer? How old is the
so
drug dealer?
let's
Anzo,
okay. So
wait a
13
minute.
is bad. Let's say 18.
What the
Okay,
fuck are we
so let's
talking
say
about? You're just trying to
so
come
let's
up
say
with
18.
extreme
Wait, no,
scenarios.
no, Anzo,
Let's say
Anzo,
18.
let's build
Let's
on
say
it. Let's
18.
build on it.
Hold on,
No,
hold
Let
on.
K-Dot,
I'll say
Anzo, no,
18.
we go back to
Hold on.
13.
let's
I'll
say
say
Anzo,
18.
18.
No.
18.
I'll say 18 because 13,
You're
18 is an
just
adult,
trying
right?
to come up
18 is
with
an adult.
extremely unrealistic examples
How am I
of
giving unrealistic
situations that
examples?
could
there's girls who date
situations
drug
that
dealers
could
at
What
18,
are
happen.
but
you
I'll work with the
talking
scenario.
about?
Nerman, I'll work with the scenario. There's girls that date drug dealers at 18, but I'll work the
Yes,
scenario.
and
How old
no,
is a
I'm
drug
not
dealer?
saying.
How old is a
You
No,
drug
but
said
what
dealer?
13.
Anzo, how
How
old is a
old
drug dealer?
13
How old is
was
a
I
he?
drug
said
dealer?
I
Anzo,
said
Did he
how
not
old is
say
a
13.
drug dealer?
13?
I
Wait,
said
Anzo,
Did he
13
not say
first because
13?
that's the age we've been talking about. But I'm saying
Anzo,
18.
how old
All
is a
right,
drug
because
dealer?
18.
18
Wait,
is an
So
adult.
you
Anzo,
switch it
how
to
old is a drug
18.
dealer?
Then she's
Let's
an
say
adult.
let's say the drug dealer is
Nerman,
18
let me
too.
work with the scenario. I got my answer, Anzo.
The drug dealer is 18 too.
Okay,
All
let
right,
him
so
Okay,
that's
answer.
cool.
Let
18.
him
This is
answer.
what I'm doing.
Hey,
Anzo, this is what
oh,
I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm snitching on his ass. Get the fuck away from my daughter. I'm calling the police. I'm
Okay,
telling him everything. What's up?
okay.
He's selling crack.
And
He's
so
selling
nerd,
chronic.
so
He's selling
Kayla,
cocaine.
and what do you think your daughter is gonna do when she finds out you did
I'm not
that?
gonna tell her I did it. I'm
Someone's
not
gonna
gonna
know
tell
you
her I
did
did it.
it, kid.
I'm gonna just
Okay,
do it.
so first off, okay, so
It could have been
18.
any call from
My
anybody,
whole
Anzo. It could
okay,
have been a
no,
call
but
from anybody.
my whole point of this was to try to prove to Nerdman that no matter how good you are, no matter what you do, take your child to
your
this and that.
child has a
At a
very,
certain
very
at
slim
a certain
possibility.
at a
A
certain
very,
at a
very
certain
small,
age, hold on. Let
really,
me
really
finish.
unrealistic possibility
Let
of
me
things going off the
finish.
rails. I
Let
understand that.
me finish. Let
I
me
understand
finish.
what you're saying.
You're not letting me finish
There's a
though.
possibility.
I let you finish when you talk, so let me finish.
Okay,
No
go
matter
on.
what you do, taking them to all the trips and whatever, if they
Yeah.
meet that man, he can make sure that everything that you have taught her
Of
means
course,
nothing because
and
now she's being
that's
taught by him.
possible. And I agree that
What?
that is possible. And there's nothing you
Okay,
can do about that. That's possibly, one of those,
right. So
unfortunate
that
circumstances
is
in
my
life.
point.
But
That is my point about you saying you
if
did
you
all
do
of
all
this.
of the things that I am talking about, you are giving
Doesn't
your
mean
child the best chance not to be
yes, but it doesn't mean
manipulated
it's going to
by
work.
so if you've done all of that, then what can you do? She's 18.
Yes,
She wants to date some guy who's a fucking
it
loser.
does.
That's
It
her. That
doesn't.
and you have
Right.
to let go
But
at
my
some point.
point, yes,
You
of
have to
course
let
you do.
go.
But my yes,
Anzo,
but my point to you,
let her deal with
hold
her
on, Kata,
consequences.
hold on, Kata. But my point to you was to say, my point, my point to you was to say that, and it's ain't about the beating. It's the point to say, no matter what you do or how good you try to be, you may still not be able to get those morals that you have onto your child.
Sure.
Right.
And
Alonzo,
again,
wait,
I
wait,
say,
I'll say
if
real quick,
he's done all of those things
real
and
quick,
they
Alonzo, you don't
don't
need to respond. Hold
respond
up,
to
Nerman.
them,
I didn't say this real
so
quick, and Alonzo, you don't need to respond, but this is what I'll say. At that point, since she's 18 in my country, she's an adult. I'm gonna let her deal with her consequences. And through the stuff, like let's say she gets locked up in jail one night with him, maybe that might just be enough to get her to change. Maybe. But at least she's going to see the error of her ways. Because I'm still not gonna
we'll
beat
see
her.
the error of her ways eventually.
I'm not gonna
Exactly.
kick her out the house, but I'm not gonna beat her. I'm gonna just let
I'm
her
not
deal with her
talking about
consequences.
beating her.
I'm gonna keep
I am
warning her.
not at this point.
But that's what it
At
all
this
comes
point,
down to. You
no,
keep
it
talking about
doesn't.
enforcing
No,
all
it
these
doesn't.
things.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It
It
all
does.
comes down
That's
to
what
the
it
fact.
comes
No,
down to.
Nerdman.
There's no
No, it doesn't.
scenario.
No,
There's no
stop it.
scenario under which beating
Listen
them is
to me.
because what
Listen
you're
to
talking
me.
about. What you're
Listen
talking
to
about,
me.
even if you
Listen
beat
to
them, they're
me.
not going to fucking listen.
Listen
So
to
there's
me.
no point
Listen
to
to
it.
me. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm trying to explain to you by this time at 18, if all that happens, it's too late. You are done, right? Yes, there is no beating. I'm not talking about that. My counteraction to what you were saying is because you seem to think because you give this child a good home, because you take this child on vacation, because you do all these good things, that this child is going to come out perfect. That's what you
No, I
assuming.
don't.
So my
That's
yes,
not
you.
what
That's
I'm
what you
assuming.
said. That
Right,
was
Who
your
but
ever
point.
said
nobody's
that?
gonna be perfect though. Nobody's gonna be
No,
Nobody
perfect.
said that.
We're
I'm
not trying
using
to make them
purpose.
perfect.
I'm using
We're not
purpose
trying to
as a
make them
high pro.
perfect. We're not.
I'm
Hold
using
on.
purpose. I'm using
Okay, so have you
perfect
finished
as
your
a
point? Have you
high
finished your
volley.
point?
Right. My
So that I
point is, yes, I'm done.
yeah, okay. So I have never been saying that that's going to definitely lead your child to success,
You
definitely
said that.
lead them to lead a healthy life.
Those are your
Yeah.
things. Yes.
I
That's what you
all
said.
I am saying is that's their best chance.
No, it's
Beating
not.
is not their best chance. The best
No, it's not.
chance is to do the things that I spoke about. Learn
No, it's
about
not.
your
It
child,
depends
get to
on
know
the
them, get to know
child.
their talents, make them
It depends
love
on
something
the
and
child.
passionately go after that thing.
My point.
I'll tell you
My point is, it
one
depends on the
film,
child.
one film that shows what I'm talking about, like that. This film, King Richard, right? This way of him, the way he parented his children, you saw discipline. There was discipline in there, right? He had an idea of how to get them out of their circumstances. He made them love something. He found out about their interests. He took interest in them. He ensured that they got their education at the same time as pursuing that interest. There is ways around this. And
It does not work with
it comes.
everybody.
But King Richard was
No,
dirt
but
poor, just
you're
like
not
probably
saying it's going to work with everyone.
Okay,
That's
but
not
that's
the
the point
point.
of this.
But
Yes, it
look,
is.
okay, so
Yes, it
let's say
is
this.
the point.
Let's say
Because
this.
the point
Let's
is,
say
hold on,
this.
hold on, hold on,
Let's
hold
say
on.
this.
Let
Let's say
me get
this.
to the point.
Let,
Because you
let,
guys keep missing the
let
point.
me give you three
No, hold on.
scenarios.
No,
I'm
no,
going to
no,
give
no,
you
no,
three
no, 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 no.
scenarios.
I don't want your
I'm going to give you
scenarios yet.
three
I don't want
scenarios.
I don't want your scenarios yet. I don't want to. I don't want to. Let
Okay,
me get to
I'll
the
wait for
point
you to
of
finish.
this
It's going
whole
to be on
fucking
King
thing.
Richard.
Yes. Let me get to this
Okay,
whole
go on.
point of this whole fucking thing. All right. Some kids, just like you said, it's not going to work with everybody. Some
So,
kids need to get their ass whooped. It's a fact. I don't care what you want
okay.
to say. I don't care what your scenarios are. Not all kids. You have to know your child. Some kids it will work with, some kids it will won't. But at the
Some
end of
kids it
the
won't work
day,
with. Okay, got
some
it.
kids need to get beat. Plain and simple.
Okay.
Anzo, wait a minute.
I'm going
Let
to
me
give,
ask
no, K-Dots. I was waiting for him to finish so I can
after
give
you,
the
but I need
big.
to ask both y'all two questions. But go Nerman. I need to ask y'all two questions.
Remember those questions, please. Three
I got it.
scenarios, okay? So, your daughter, you've got the same scenario as King Richard, right? One, the scenario is your daughter is not Serena Williams and whatever Williams, and you give them the same kind of education and do the same kind of diligent kind of parenting that guy did, and they just turn out normal or they turn out bad or whatever the case may be. Something happens along the way and it just doesn't work. Okay, so that's the scenario. Like that's what is the possibility of what could happen. Second scenario is Your kid is Serena Williams or is this great tennis player, but you don't do any of those things. You don't do the due diligence, and instead, you just try and get them to go to school and blah blah blah, and then you beat them, whatever you want to do, right? Like you beat them to discipline them instead of doing any of those things. And because of that, because you haven't taken the time to concern yourself with what they care about and done all of those things, they end up not becoming Serena Williams, even though they had the potential to become Serena Williams. And then the third scenario is, of course, you do all of those things, and then they are Serena Williams, right? And you allow them to fulfill their potential. Those are the only three options that happen with this, with these kind of cases of how you can parent your child. It's either they don't have the potential to meet up to the good parenting standards that you're setting for them. So it's just an unlucky thing. Maybe they go a different way, but in the end of the day, say they were, or they did have the potential to do those things, then you've done a good thing. So either way, it doesn't matter. You just parent the best you can and hope for the best for them. Hope that they'll be able to use that to fulfill and become the best person that they can be. Or even, 50% of the best person they can be will be enough, right? It doesn't matter, right? Your hyper skepticism, right, about this is just I don't even
From Michael
understand it. It
Jackson.
doesn't make any sense. It's like,
How'd that work for
okay,
Michael
so
Jackson?
say they become bad, so what?
How'd that work for Michael Jackson? Because
What?
if you don't know this, having a child is a reflection on you. So how that child walks around and goes around in the street is a reflection on you.
I don't care about what people think about me.
Okay.
I don't care about
I'm
that. I care
telling
about
you
the
that
child.
child. So that child that's going around selling drugs or whatever is a reflection on you. That child that actually is a professor or whatever, successful, is also a reflection on you.
Oh,
So if you want to be a good parent, then you want to actually put your kid on the right path to do that. Now, again, you keep talking about beating child. I'm telling you, last resort. So you know your child. You spend time with your child. You have done all these things that you are talking about, which is what I've said many fucking times. And I'm going to say it one more time so you can understand.
okay.
You've done all of that. Everything. You've been that parent,
And they're
and
still
they
a bad
still
seed.
fucked up.
And they're still fucked up. And you've beaten them and they're still fucked up. So same thing can happen.
I'm not
With
talking
beating them or
But
without
yes,
beating
it
them.
can. Yes, it can. But because you're
I can
not
say the
doing
exact
that,
same thing
but,
to
be-
you.
but because you're not spanking, right? Because you're not spanking, you're leaving out one option that might work, regardless of how barbaric or whatever you think of it. It might work. You know why it might work?
It might
Because
not.
it has, but it has worked.
But this is what I'm saying. What you're talking about is just as hypothetical as what I'm talking about.
No, I'm not,
I
because I'm
believe
saying no, I'm not talking hypothetics, because I'm actually talking about things that happen to people in generations that I've grown up with that have turned out fine, right? So I'm not speaking hypothetics. I'm speaking
well, I know
from
people
fucking
who
fact.
haven't turned out
I'm
fine. In
speaking.
fact, I don't know
I
anyone.
have. I
I
have.
don't know anyone who was
I have.
beaten personally in my own personal
I
life
have.
that is
I
psychologically
have.
okay.
I have.
I don't.
I am telling you, I have. So now you know
Well, that
somebody.
remains to be seen if you're
Now
psychologically
you know somebody. All right.
okay.
So now you know
You
somebody,
like the
right?
MCU, man. You think Infinity
And
War? You know,
maybe
this probably
if your
explains why
ass
you don't
had
like
got
the
beat,
Dark Knight.
maybe
This,
if your
this is
ass had
probably
got beat
why.
a little bit more, you would understand how shit the DCEU was, and probably be able to write a better rap, right? You'd probably be able to do that. But since you can't do that, I understand. It's okay. It's no problem. I get it. I'm just saying right? You are talking about exhausting all options without spanking. Fine. That's the way you want to do it. That's fine. But
Yeah,
to me,
exactly. I know they do. I
but to
know
me,
they do.
but to me, you are leaving out an option
You're
that
leaving out
may
an
work.
option.
You are correct. It may not work, but what if it does?
Yeah, I know. I know. I just have to. The problem I have with the beating, this is the only problem I have with it, is that it runs a risk. It's like, speaking of risk,
So,
I should check
okay, so
that.
hold on. Let me
It
ask you this
runs
before
the
you go,
risk.
because I understand where you're going.
And,
But let me ask you this.
I think the risk is
My,
too great a
okay,
risk
so
to
here's the question.
use that as an option. It
Here's
would
the
be like
counteraction.
saying,
Hold on, nerd man.
it would be like
Here's the
saying,
counteraction to your risk.
oh,
Here's the counteraction to your risk. If you know your child, then you should know your child will be able to get a spanking without it being that type of fucking detriment on them. Because
that's
you know
true.
your
That's one
child.
thing. That's one area where I'll say I agree with you. That's something that I don't
Because you
know.
know your child.
I can't say that until I become a parent. You're right. That's the one thing I will give you. I cannot say that because maybe if you know the child enough, you'll know that they'd be able to take that and still understand that you love them and respect. I know. Of course, they'll know that you love them, but like you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Like all the fears that I have over my experience being beaten, knowing how I felt and what I did, and why it made me run away from home, want to stay away from home for long periods of time instead of being able to do like my homework at home and do work and do, go to school normally. Running away from the summers, doing all these kind of like crazy things to get away from just this over disciplinary household. Like I have and the stuff that I feel even till today, like of how I that I haven't even resolved till today. Um, I just I think that risk is too high for me. And that's the reason essentially it comes down to a personal thing. But you're right, I can't know that about like in the sense of what you talked about. I can't know that until I have a kid. That's true. I'll give you that. Um,
If you know,
yeah,
if I spent a lot of time with my child, so I know my child. I know him. I know
yeah,
what he
and
could take. I know what he couldn't take. Right. So at the same time, that's where it comes down to. I'm not saying you just need to run around and beat your kid every time they do something wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But at a
yeah.
certain
No, I
point, you
understand that.
will
I
know if
remember
it's
I
going
know
to be
I know.
effective or not.
You remember when I said like earlier, I know you enough that I know you would never abuse your child. I know you would do it out of like care and I understand your point of view. But the other thing is, should we allow parents to spank their children? Now, what you did, you've got the context of your child understanding, respecting, you knowing that you have a good home, knowing, there's no reason for that kid to want to, your kid to want to react to that in a kind of extreme way because of the context of what you've done as a parent. Yeah, all the good things you've done as a parent. But I worry that if you give that ability carte blanche to everyone and you say you didn't outlaw it, you didn't make it illegal, I think there are a lot more abusers that will take advantage of that as opposed to do it in a responsible way. That's
So
my
here's the but here's the
giving
thing. An
that as
abuser is going
huh?
to abuse. An abuser is going to abuse regardless of whether you give them
Yeah,
that
but
right or
it's
not.
good that they can go to jail for it. That's the difference. In this society, they can go to
Yeah,
jail
but
for it.
that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Abuse and spanking are two different things. Again, right? So if you're talking about abuse, yes, 100%. But little spankings, I don't see a problem with that. But we're talking about two different things. We're talking about spanking and abuse.
Yeah,
So
again,
there's degrees
all
to
I'm
it.
saying is that even though I agree with you that it can work in certain circumstances, it can work with certain children, that I nonetheless think if society was like all of a sudden, okay, you're allowed to whip your child with a belt, you're allowed to do this. The problem is you can't have a law that says you can't whip your child with a belt because they peed themselves, right? Or you can't say, okay, you're only allowed to whip your child with a belt if they do something violent to another kid, or you have to just be like, you can whip your child with a belt, right? Which means that that parent has carte blanche to whip their child with a belt for any reason. It could be because their football team lost, or because they're fucking alcoholic,
But if
or
that
because
child, but
there would
what I'm
be no
saying is, if
there would be
if
no
they're
way
gonna
of
do that,
prosecuting.
if
There
they're
would be
gonna
no
whoop
way of
their kid like that, nerd man, they're gonna
wrong.
do it without the law. They're doing it now,
Okay, and
right?
if they
So
do it with the law, now with the law, the child at least has the option to call the police, or somebody has the option to call the police because that child is being abused. That's the difference.
oh,
That's why I'm saying
yes, but that's but,
I don't think
that's
it
what I'm
should be
saying.
legalized.
There
I
again,
don't.
there is a thin line between abuse and spanking. Okay,
Right,
so
and
what you're
it's
talking
too
about
thin.
is abuse. But if a
And it's
parent
too thin,
needs
and
to
that's
spank
why I'm
their
saying I
child
don't think it should be lawful. Do you think it should be lawful to
to spank your
hit your
child,
child with a ball? To hit
to
your
hit your
child
child,
with a ball? Don't talk about spanking.
yeah,
Let's
I don't
be
have. Yeah, yeah,
concrete.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Do you
absolutely,
think it should
100%.
be legal?
I think
So
yes,
you think it should be legal?
100%. I don't have a
Okay.
problem with that.
So again, then you're saying
Now,
that you think
now
it
to
should
a
be
degree,
legal.
again,
Then you're
now
saying
to a
no.
degree,
When you say that, you have to take with that you're agreeing that it should be legal, that a guy can come home drunk, be
no,
really pissed
that's
off,
abuse.
beat his child
No,
with a belt.
no, that's abuse.
That's
Your
legal
child has
then,
to do,
under the circumstances
but
that
your
you said.
child, but your
It's
child
legal
has to do
to beat
something
your child
wrong,
with a
nerd
belt.
man. I'm not talking about fucking. It's still abuse, right? Again, you have to be
So
able to distinguish
how would you be able to manage that situation? If you legalize beating your child with a belt, how
because
do
they're
you
doing it
how do you
now.
huh?
They're still doing it today, nerd man, with the law, right? They're
Oh, come
still
on,
beating kids
bro.
with
You're
the.
just going
There's,
round and round in a circle.
do I
The
need to show?
difference is, I
Hold
just
on.
told you,
Do I
the
need to
difference
show?
is
Do I need to show? There is
if
no
somebody's
difference
doing
because
that,
they're doing it now.
now a child, or somebody else who is who's watching the child with their parents, can call the police on that fucking parent if they're doing that abuse.
And if a
If
father
if
comes home,
if
hold
if
on,
if
and hold on,
if
hold on, hold
if,
on. No,
if
no,
it
no, no,
was
no.
legal,
Because
they could not.
because because abuse
That's
doesn't
what I'm
matter what
saying to you.
weapon. No, but nerd man, abuse doesn't matter what weapon you use. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. Abuse is abuse, right? So if a parent comes home and they punched their kid in the face, a drunk. That's
Right.
abuse. If a parent comes home and takes a belt and beats their kid for no reason, that's abuse. But now, if a parent comes
Okay.
home and has,
So how
but
can
if
you
a
stop
parent,
that
but if a parent, hold
if
on,
you allow
but
your
now
kids
if a
to
parent comes home, because there's a degree to it, nerd man. Obviously, there's gonna be trials, court dates,
we're,
whatever. Hey,
we're not
why'd you
talking
beat your
you're
kid?
talking
Oh, because I
about
was
right and
drunk.
wrong. I'm talking about law, what should be legal and
Yeah, I'm
illegal.
talking about law too.
That's what you're getting at. That's
I'm
where we're getting
talking about
confused.
law too.
If you're
I
talking
am
about right
talking
and
about
wrong,
law too. I am talking
if
about law too. The
you're,
law knows the
you're talking
difference
about
between
law,
abuse. Law knows the difference because you can check the laws. I'm pretty sure there's a difference between abuse and spanking. Right? There's
no.
degrees to everything.
They
100%.
could never do that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There'll be no
Yes,
legal
they
system
could.
that could handle the
Yes, they
difference.
could. Yes,
No,
they
they couldn't.
could handle the
How
difference.
would you do it?
What are you
Give,
telling me?
give me the scenario and please answer the
I
question.
just told you, a
No,
fucking
no, no, no,
parent
no,
coming
no.
home
You didn't
drunk,
just tell
a
me.
parent
Otherwise,
coming
I would have
home
been
drunk,
satisfied with
a
your
parent
explanation.
coming, a parent coming home drunk, whooping their kid is abuse. A parent
Okay, so
disciplining their
you're
kid
saying,
because a kid did something
so now
wrong
you're
is
saying,
not
what you're saying
abuse.
is that you shouldn't be able to beat your child. So it should be illegal to beat your child while under the influence. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm telling you for beating your child for no reason.
So how would the law be able to distinguish beating a child for no reason? So you could say, I beat my child because I found out he was lying to me.
How does the law distinguish who's an abuser in a
Doesn't
relationship?
distinguish.
No,
It
hold
just
on,
says
hold on,
that
hold
it's
on.
illegal.
Yes, it does.
That's what it
No,
does.
no. Hold on. You're not letting me finish. How does a law distinguish abuse between a man and a woman when both of them have bruises? How do they do that? How do they find out who was the aggressor?
What?
How do
What
they
do you
find
mean?
out who was the aggressor? Am I speaking Spanish?
Okay.
So let's
I'll
say a
try
man.
and answer your question.
Let's say a man's been
I'll try and
abusing his
answer your
wife,
question.
right?
You want me to
Okay,
answer
so
the
answer.
question?
So let me clarify it. So let's say a man is abusing his wife, right? Police call, whatever. They come in there and they see that the man has bruises, but the woman has bruises too. How do they determine who was the aggressor and who was defending themselves?
So, police nowadays will generally
I just asked the
speaking,
question.
I'm answering it.
Mm-hmm.
Police nowadays will generally speaking assume the man is the aggressor in these situations because 90% of the time the man is the aggressor in those situations. So the law reflects the reality of the statistics around that crime. Okay, so even though it may be wrong because sometimes it's the other way around and it's actually the woman who's abusing the man. If police come to a household and both of you have got bruises, right, and black eyes, they are going to probably arrest the man because of the statistical
So
probability.
you are
It's most
absolutely
likely
wrong.
the man who is the
You
aggressor.
are absolutely wrong because if you know, I have a friend who's on a stream, we both have him, who's a cop, and who has talked
Okay.
about that because that's what he does. They do an
Okay.
investigation. That's how you determine whether the child was getting beat
And
by
the
abuse or it
investigation
was
tends
because
to
of something
slant
they did
towards
wrong.
the man. Okay, so all
What?
right, we're going back to the child thing. So you do an investigation, and the investigation is what? There's two people in the household, right? Or sorry, there's three people in the household, maybe, right? Or however many children they have, or whatever, right? This guy comes, he beats the child, right? The police are called on him. He says, I beat the child for good reason because the child was lying to me about whatever, right? That's perfectly fine because the law is you can beat your child if maybe they've done something wrong, right? So the wrong that the parent perceives, right, is based on their own subjectivity, right? They subjectively say, well, like this kid did something, lied to me, did whatever, right? And that immediately gives them the reason for the beating. Now they do an
So then,
investigation. They do an
so the
investigation.
cop will only speak to
No reason.
the
The
parent.
adult
So
says, I beat him because he's lying. The wife says, he beat him because he's lying. What can you do past that investigation? You can't arrest anybody. You
you
can't.
speak to the
This is
child.
what we're talking about, K-Dots.
You
Because this
speak
is
to the
actually
child.
quite
Um,
I
I
can't
did
stay
have,
on here too much longer, man. So
Yeah,
yeah, whenever
I
y'all,
want to finish anyway.
I
I
just
want
want
to
to
finish
ask,
this anyway.
I just want to ask y'all last two questions because I do got to
Okay.
start up my
Right.
TikTok live. Okay, let me say this too. This is a conversation for people that might be whatever, future parents, whatever, whoever. But Anzo's already Anzo, you're not having no more kids, right?
50, I probably couldn't even if I want to.
Do you want to have more kids?
Well, you're shooting blanks, you fucking.
Never mind.
Right
You
now,
don't have kids, so I wouldn't talk about squirting blanks. All right.
right now, Anzo is a completed parent. This conversation is more for the other people to get two different perspectives on things to see
Yeah.
what the next generation could do different, or if they want to repeat some things. I don't know. But this is what the conversation is for. Now, 2 questions. Now, there's cases when kids disobey. But if your child went as far as to correct or challenge something that you may be wrong on, are you willing to listen? That's for both Nerdman and Anzo. Are you both willing to listen? Let's say, for example, I don't know, you made it, you said a fact, like Abraham Lincoln is the 15th president or whatever. Your child's like, no, Dad, it's the 16th. Like, no, it's the 15th. And he corrects you on it. Are you willing to accept being challenged by your child and corrected? Let me ask that.
Yes.
Of course.
Anzo. Okay. Second question. If
Not the MCU though. If he says the MCU's fucking good, I'll fucking beat his ass.
Of course you would.
Okay.
Of course you would. So you do agree with beating kids?
Well,
See?
that,
Told you.
that's
That's what it all comes down to.
Oh my God.
He's just camping for the stream. He just said it. Next question, K-Dot.
All right, last question. If a police officer, caught your son stealing something, right? And his idea was to take his hand and smack your kid's hand. That's all he does. He just smacks his hand. He tells him, don't do that shit again, or I'm gonna arrest you. Would y'all be okay with that?
No.
Never man. Also,
I don't know, to be honest with you, because the consequences of getting arrested and a record would be a lot worse than that little tap on his hand. But at the same time, I don't want no one else touching my kid but me. So that's not your place
Exactly.
to do.
I don't want any.
That's why I say I don't know.
Saying either or, what would I prefer? Is that what you're asking?
No, like what would you be okay with?
No, because I don't know if it's an either or question. Would I rather him hit the kid on the hand and tell him to get on his way?
He's basically saying, Nerdman, he's basically saying your son gets caught stealing, and instead of getting arrested, the cop smacks him on his hand.
Yeah, like a little spank. Like, do that shit again, you're gonna get locked up.
Again, I wouldn't be comfortable with that, but I would appreciate that he didn't arrest him, but I still wouldn't be comfortable with a guy. But he could have.
I wouldn't be comfortable with it either, but
without hitting him on his hand. Period.
That's why I said I wouldn't be comfortable with another person doing that either. But at the same time, I'm like, well, he could have arrested your ass, and then that's a whole different can of worms now.
Right.
Yeah.
Last final question, and really think about this when I say it, and I'm not picking it away when I say this. Should a child have just as much human rights as we would give an adult?
Of course.
No.
Yes.
I think it depends. In freedoms, like being able to vote and this kind of thing, like
how we would treat them, how we would treat them for it for an example.
If you're talking about voting and stuff like that, no. But I think you're just talking general.
Right, yeah, just human rights. Like, okay, because this is why I feel with some parents. I feel some parents look at their kids as the little fucking helpers. For an example, there will be some cases where a parent, a mother or whatever, will push the oldest child to become the man of the house, right? To, if we got other siblings, to be the man of the house, when it's like, that's not your role. You're the kid. If the mom needs to get a man at the house, then go get a man of the fucking house. Right?
That's different. That's different because you putting a child as the man of the house, you're teaching him how to actually be a man, how to take care of certain things and situations. So that could be a good thing. You don't want to have your mother bringing another man in the situation and him trying to discipline your kid. Because not only does that have a problem with the kid, then the father's like, why the fuck is this guy disciplining my child?
Okay, well, I'm not just saying bringing another man. This is what I'm also saying. The mom needs to be the parent. Just what I'm saying. Like the mom.
Yes, but you can also teach the oldest one how to be a man too.
Yeah. I'm
I
saying you can
think,
teach the
I
oldest
think
one
what you're
responsibility,
saying is
but
that, you know,
you can.
like you can't put too much on your kid, but
Right.
she's still looking after that kid. She's still putting food on
Yes.
his table. She's still,
Right,
Yes.
like,
you know,
like, 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 for
the
example,
lights on, the electricity, all that. She's just asking him to, can you help out a little? You know, like, oh, make sure your sister is okay. You know, like maybe pick her up from school.
From
Yeah, because
school, or cook,
that's not that
make her a
hard.
sandwich if I'm late or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah,
perfectly
that's
fine.
not too hard, bro.
all right. And then what about this? What about this? What about this? What if that child goes to his mother and tells his mother, "Mom, I'm feeling way too overwhelmed with the stuff you got me doing." Because what it feels like is you're pawning stuff on me to do, and you're not being the actual parent. Because there are some cases where the oldest kid does a better job at trying to raise the kids together than the mom. Because the mom might, if she's a single mother, working and stuff, constantly trying to pay the bills and all that. But what if that child goes like, "Mom, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Like you're always telling me to babysit the kids, to go out and do your own shit. You know, mind you, and let's say he's a teenager. He's a teenager in high school, and he
So
got
here's the thing. You have to have that conversation, obviously, if a child comes at you like that. But you also have to weigh, are you really asking him too much, or is this child just being dramatic? Right? They don't
Yeah,
want to do
exactly.
certain things because they want to go out and hang with their friends or do some other stuff like that. So you can't
Right,
just sit there and say because the child's saying he's overwhelmed, then he's overwhelmed. You have to weigh it out. Maybe
right,
you
right,
are doing a little bit too much, but at the end of the day, you can't just, oh, I'm overwhelming you. Okay, then you don't have to do it no more.
right,
You
exactly.
have to really sit
Because
down and say,
if they
Well,
are feeling,
and that's why I asked you earlier. Go ahead, Nerman.
if they are feeling overwhelmed, right, and you genuinely can see that they are feeling overwhelmed, and there's like good reason for them feeling overwhelmed. One, you can actually take them and go, okay, here's a reward. You have been working really hard, and you have been helping out a lot, and here's a reward. Let's do this. Let's find something you like. Blah blah blah. Secondly, if you have the money, of course, you could hire a babysitter for a few hours. Like, okay, you go out, don't do anything terrible, like, but go out with that friend that you know, because hopefully you should know their friends and stuff like that. And you can hang out for a little bit or get a babysitter, that kind of thing. But
right.
as
And
Anza said, a lot of the time it's just like, oh, I'm just feeling, like I don't want to do this, and it's like, no, you're teaching them how to be a
so,
responsible person
so
by doing
and like
it.
Nirman said, you compromise as well, right? So let's say you can't get that babysitter, but you gotta work. You tell them, listen, I can't, but next week, whatever you want to do, you're good to go. You know what I mean? So you make them kind of compromises and stuff like that, because sometimes you may not be able to get a babysitter. But
Yeah.
again, you can't just say because this person says I'm overwhelmed. It's like all I ask you to do is dishes. What do you mean you're overwhelmed? You know what I mean?
No, but
Yeah.
what if she's like, but like, mind you, she's a single mother. So what if she's asking like, I need you to start prepping the food early. I need you to wash all the dishes, take out all the trash, clean up the bathrooms
That's
and
not
stuff.
even that hard, bro.
Exactly.
No. Wait. And I mean, take care of your brothers and sisters. Make sure to get all their homework done. Everything, like, basically do all the
So
work.
So here's the thing, right? So what am I doing when I get home, right? Because if I'm just coming home and you've done all of that stuff and I'm just going on the couch and sitting and chilling, then okay, yeah, that's a problem. But now if
Okay,
I'm
all right.
coming home and I gotta put the kids to bed and I gotta do all of this stuff, then for you to help out with your brothers and sisters for a little bit is shouldn't be that much of an issue. As a child,
Okay, and
so hold on, as another child too, as like let's say what age we're talking, 16, you should be taking out the garbage, right? That's your chore regardless. You know what I mean?
right.
So
Yeah,
you can't
Well,
use that because that's what you're doing.
and that's why
absolutely.
I'm glad. That's why I'm glad you brought the thing about her just coming in and sitting in and being a problem. And I think, and look, I'll be honest with you, that's the shit my dad was doing. I understand he was driving 2 hours to work, back from work, but it's like, you know, the job still isn't done. That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah, you got to go to work, but your job as a parent still isn't done. Because at the end of the day, and this same thing, let's look at it like
I
this.
don't get it. I don't get what you're saying.
Okay,
So hold
man.
on, let me ask you this.
okay.
Let me ask you this. Hold on, Kira, before you go. Did your father work on the weekends?
No.
Did he work 7 days a week? See,
Wait.
because if he's coming home and working those hours and then coming home and resting after work, but then he's spending the weekend with you, that shouldn't be a problem.
Well, see, that's the thing. He wasn't even really spending the weekends with me.
Okay.
I'm not saying there's some real animosity and stuff, but what I'm saying is, look, I'll tell y'all this. My dad
What was he
only
doing on the weekends?
I mean, resting
Just
or
resting the whole weekend?
no,
Maybe it's not
resting or tending to the house, doing all, fixing the car, all the
But
lawn care shit.
that is doing something.
No. I'm talking about with your kid. I'm not saying I didn't do some stuff with my dad, but I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of those weekends we really didn't do shit. You guys, I'm a real recluse kid. I just kept to myself a lot. But he never really asked me, hey son, you wanna go over to the
Okay.
go to Trader, not Trader Joe's, but like go out to I don't know, to the park or something, like that type of shit.
Okay,
It was
but
not a
here's the thing.
consistent thing.
And I get you, but here's the thing though. So now that you said that, he's working on the weekend as well. You understand? So now maybe if he was like, hey, or you were like, hey dad, I'm gonna mow the lawn for you this week, so this weekend you don't have to, and we could do something. But you can't be mad if he's coming home from work and then on the weekend he's fixing up the house, he's fixing the car,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
doing
I'm
these
not
things.
saying I was mad. Hold on.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it, but this one I'm saying. Like, and mind you, the stuff he was doing, I was also doing too, like mowing the grass, washing the dishes, cleaning up around the house. I was doing pretty much, the shit my mom was teaching me to do. But this is what I'm trying to say. Do some involvement with your kid. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
get Anzo Nerman. This is the reality, and this is the reality. And even my dad accepts this. He put himself in a position he's in to not be able to invest that time with me. And look, it is the reality of what it is. The choices he made in his life, because at the end of the day, I ain't asked to be here. But this is what I'm gonna do. This what I'm gonna do. This is my goal.
Let me ask you one question, K-Dot. Because if you really wanted to spend the time with him too as well, then maybe you could have done things around the house to make that burden.
No, I was Anzo. I always did my chores. Don't get me wrong. I always did my chores.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking extra. Like, so for example, let's say your father is gonna mow the lawn on Saturday. If you mow the lawn, but if you mowed it during the week to where he didn't have to do it on Saturday, then that day is freed up so he can spend with you.
I know I was.
But the point is he's using the excuse to not spend the time with him, like doing things around the house.
And also, to be fair, my dad did okay because I would say around my teens, close to my teens, like after middle school, slightly. That's when my dad started showing me how to mow the lawn. Pretty much, he was just doing it himself, like always, or trimming the bushes. Like he was doing it himself. He'd rather do it himself. A lot of stuff he'd rather do himself.
Yeah. I have to go there. This has been a really interesting conversation, and thanks, guys. Like, really, like, I've actually learned something, and I'm not, we've been arguing back and forth, Lonzo, but like, I absolutely
lie. Y'all still on business.
No, he knows I respect that. I don't have to say that, but like, I respect what you're saying. Basically, is what I'm trying to get at. Not like I respect you, you know that I respect you, but like I respect what you're saying. I don't agree with it, but I respect a lot of where it's coming from. So that's just me. But I have to go.
Well, I will never respect anything any DCU fan says, so we're different there. So yeah.
He always has to come in clutch, doesn't he? He always has to come in clutch. See how a DC fan ends a discussion with dignity and like some form of a handout or whatever. Not the MCU fans. Anyway.
No.
Typical MCU fans. But we will get ready to close it up. We're just gonna go ahead and close it up so Anzo and Nurbe can do their thing. I gotta start my live on TikTok.
And just so you guys know, regardless of that argument or whatever happened today, Nerdman said twice on this stream that he would beat the shit out of his son K-Dot. So I'm just saying.
Hey.
No,
Let's just go before that incriminating evidence that he
the law.
clearly
He knows the authority. Okay, he knows the authority.
You see?
Okay,
You
I
see
don't
that,
need.
K-Dot? You hear what he's saying about you, right? You just gonna take that? You're gonna take that.
DC for life.
What did you do? What did you do?